in mini stack, Dan, and I love this. You had a chance to go into an air conditioning warehouse filled with treasures.
You know what? We were joking and going into this, but that really is one of the fun things about working here. Somebody will call you up and say, "Hey, Dan, how about coming out here and seeing our air conditioning store?" And I'll usually say yes. Because you never know what's behind those doors. And by golly, when we went out to Hendels Air Conditioning Showroom out in Chandler, we were more than pleasantly surprised.
If you have winter visitors heading into town and you have no idea what to do with them, well, you might think about taking them for a little side trip to one of the most interesting showrooms in the East Valley. Hendels Air Conditioning not only has one of the biggest displays of working air conditioners in the country. See, told you so. But owner Joe Hendel has also turned his Chandler showroom into a refuge for his irresistible habit of buying anything and sometimes everything at yard sales.
I would go to yard sales every Saturday morning for 30 or 40 minutes on my way to work, and I would go and say, "Well, what do you want for everything?" And they say, "You mean you want to buy everything?" And I said, "Yes. Would you like to sell everything?" And they'd say, "Yeah." And, "Well, what do you want for it?" And I'd say, "Well, maybe $20, $25." So I'd pay them, and I just started putting the flashlights in one corner and the cameras in another corner. At one time, I had over 1,000 tennis racket and badminton rackets, which I sold. One of the few things I've sold. Most of the stuff I've given away, but a lot of it's still here. As you look around, there's lots of old fans and heaters and antique radios. It's kind of a nice icebreaker. They'll walk over to a refrigerator like this, and can I open it up? And they'll look around a little bit, and eventually we'll get into talking about air conditioning. And
so you use the icebox as the icebreaker, huh?
Whatever works.
Do you ever feel bad you buy a bunch of stuff you don't need?
Well, I do need it because it's here on display, and that's why I collected it all. I mean, I thought it would be a good idea to have all of this on display and just kind of punctuate all these air conditioners with stuff that people may be interested in. This one here, I happen to have one exactly like it in the early 50s in my basement in St. Louis, Missouri. And one day at a train show, I met a couple of guys, and they said, "Well, we'll come over and put up your trains." And I really didn't put much stock in it. But turns out they came by a few days later, and they said, "Well, what kind of layout do you want?" And I said, "Well, something reminiscent when I was a kid." And we kind of made some sketches, and they put this together, and it was kind of like their hobby and their place to do it. They were both America West airline pilots, and this is their work.
Joe Hendel started his family business a good 38 years ago, so he's pretty fond of selling air conditioners, but he also likes it when people and kids come in to see his collections because he simply likes to share his good fortune.
And may I say it was our good fortune to go out there. And yes, you can just walk in a store and take a look around. They would prefer that you buy an air conditioner while you're there. But if you don't, they're okay with that, and they love school groups.
That's nice.
But just nice people, nice family-owned business. His daughter and son both worked there. And it was a pleasant surprise, and that's what I love about this town is you just never know what you're going to find.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to move away. Feel my hands. I just put that olive